Okay, so you want to own a casino. Picture it. Gold light, a floor that never sleeps. A man in a tuxedo pushing a stack of chips across green felt like it means nothing to him. Every person walking through that door is about to lose money. Somebody is collecting all of it. You think, I want to be the one collecting. How hard can that be? Here's the problem. The casino you're picturing doesn't exist. The real one is stranger, colder. It can bankrupt you in a single weekend. And before you touch a single card table, someone has to say yes. Not a landlord, not a bank, a government. You can't just decide to own a casino. A state has to hand you permission, and permission is not cheap. Most states charge tens of thousands of dollars for it. Then one state asks for $500 million. Yes, $500 million, just for the right to open the doors, before a single slot machine arrives, before you've poured 1 inch of concrete. And getting that piece of paper isn't a formality either. Investigators dig through your finances, your criminal history, your business partners, who you know, who you owe. They can say no for reasons that have nothing to do with money at all. This is the only industry on earth where the government studies your character before letting you compete. But the license is just the entry fee. The real trap is buried in what happens after you win it. Because a casino isn't a room with tables in it. It's an engineered environment. No windows near the floor, no clocks anywhere. Every hallway built to keep you inside just a little longer than you meant to stay. A single slot machine costs $20,000 to $35,000. Multiply that by a few hundred machines before a single coin drops. A full resort can run past $2 billion to build. Even a smaller regional casino, the kind sitting off a highway exit in the Midwest, can cross $100 million once you count the building, the tables, the licensing. And here's what nobody tells first-time owners. None of that is what actually breaks people. The building isn't the trap. The trap is what happens the moment the doors open and the math starts running whether you're watching or not. Because every game in that building is rigged. Not illegally, legally, openly, written into the rules and disclosed to every player who sits down. Watch the roulette wheel, 38 numbers. Hit the right one and the house pays you 35 to 1. But the real odds against you are 37 to 1. That gap, that tiny 2-number gap between what you're paid and what's actually fair. That's the entire business sitting right there on the felt. They call it the house edge. On roulette, it's 5.26%. On slots, it's smaller, 7 to 10% of everything that passes through the machine over time. On blackjack, played perfectly, it can drop under 1%. Small numbers. Multiply them by 1 million hands a month, and small numbers become fortunes. That's the whole secret. Volume turns math into money. But here's what almost destroys new owners before they ever see it coming. On any single night, the house can lose. A whale walks in, sits down at the baccarat table, plays until sunrise, and walks out having taken millions of dollars that took the casino weeks to earn back from everyone else. There's nothing you can do but watch. One bad weekend with one gambler can wipe out a month of grinding profit from the slot floor. This is why casino executives don't lie awake worrying about the house edge. They lie awake worrying about variance. Now think about where the real money actually comes from, because it isn't where you'd guess. Slot machines carry most of it. Somewhere around 70% of gaming revenue in most markets. Not because people love slots more than blackjack. Because a blackjack table needs a dealer, a supervisor, security watching every hand. A slot machine needs electricity. It runs 24 hours a day. No lunch break. No mistakes that cost the house money. It just sits there, quietly grinding out its percentage, forever. But here's the twist that flips the entire picture upside down. In the biggest resort markets, gambling has quietly become the smaller business. Hotel rooms and restaurants combined can out-earn the casino floor itself. On the modern Las Vegas Strip, non-gaming revenue, rooms, food, shows, retail, now makes up roughly 2/3 of total income. Gambling built these buildings. It's no longer, by itself, what fills them. So why does every casino still treat the floor like the crown jewel? Because per dollar earned, it's still the most profitable room in the building. A hotel room costs the same to clean whether the guest paid full price or paid nothing. A restaurant has food costs, spoilage, labor. A slot machine has almost none of that. It just sits there, printing its edge, hour after hour, at almost zero marginal cost. Then casinos start doing something that looks completely insane. They begin giving things away. Free rooms, free food, free alcohol, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in free play handed to a single player, no strings attached. Why would a business hand away that much money? Because that free drink isn't hospitality. Alcohol lowers your guard. It keeps you at the machine longer, betting bigger. That free room isn't a gift. It's an anchor, keeping your entire budget on this property instead of the one across the street. Well-run casinos give back 30 to 40% of their gaming revenue this way. Go higher, chasing volume, and you train your best customers to expect more forever. You can't walk it back. Go lower, and they walk across the street to someone who will. Somewhere above your head right now, in a room you'll never see, someone is already watching every chip you've touched, every card dealt, every dollar that crosses the cage. The eye never blinks in this building, and underneath all of it sits the machine that quietly eats everything else. Payroll for thousands of employees, gaming tax that can swallow anywhere from single digits to over half your gaming revenue depending on which state signed your license. Marketing built around flying your best players in personally. Security, surveillance, compliance teams watching every transaction for the government looking over your shoulder. Run it well, and you land somewhere between 25 and 35% margin. Fall under that, and something in the machine is broken. Your costs are too high, or your floor isn't pulling its weight. Climb above it, and you're likely leaning hard on the rooms and the restaurants doing what the slots used to do alone. Here's a number that should terrify you a little. A mid-sized resort casino can pull in close to $2 million a day across every stream: gaming, rooms, food, entertainment. Almost $700 million a year. Now start subtracting. Gaming tax first, then comps, 30 to 40% gone before you've paid a single employee. Then payroll, running into the hundreds of millions annually for a property this size. Then utilities for a building that never turns its lights off. Insurance on hundreds of millions of dollars sitting on one piece of land. By the time you reach the bottom, that staggering top line has been carved down to a margin measured in the 20s, maybe 30s, of a single percent. Run it badly, and that margin doesn't shrink. It disappears. And here's the risk nobody explains before you sign anything. This entire empire sits on a foundation you don't control. A state can raise your tax rate with one vote. A neighboring state can legalize casinos and cut your customer base in half overnight. Your phone, the one in every gambler's pocket, is quietly becoming your biggest competitor. No rent, no dealers, no building to heat and cool. Your own license, the thing that let you exist in the first place, was handed to you by the same government that can hand it to someone else. You don't just run a business here, you run a business the government can rewrite at any moment. The operators who actually win stopped treating the casino floor as the whole story a long time ago. The floor is the reason people walk in, but the money that survives a bad year comes from every corner of the building working together, keeping one guest inside for one more hour, one more meal, one more night. They watch their hold percentage the way a bank watches interest rates. They watch their comp ratio the way a retailer watches theft. And they never ever forget that the piece of paper on the wall, the one that lets them exist, was never really theirs to keep. The next time you hear coins pouring out of a slot machine, listen closely. That sound wasn't designed to celebrate someone winning. It was designed to make everyone else in the room believe they're next.